Hello. Today is Friday, March 1st, and today is Aragorn's birthday, which will be relevant to a later story.
That's surprising that Middle-earth used the same calendar.
There's actually a whole explanation about how they don't, and how they have like elvish names for all the months, but I won't get into it right now.
But the fact that their lunar and sun cycle will be the same seems highly unlikely.
Well, listen, I have no explanation for that. But in the tale of years, March 1st is marked as Aragorn's birthday. And the day Sauron was defeated was March 25th.
Well, happy birthday to him. I'm sure he's having a very happy birthday. But you know who's not having a happy March 1st? Most likely, Mr. Mark Zuckerberg. Because this headline, this might not be the worst thing that Facebook's ever done, but it sounds really bad.
Weird.
The Daily Dot is saying that Facebook collects app data on users' body weight and menstrual cycles. And of course, like all kinds of stuff from apps.
Yeah, I wish they had mentioned the from apps part, because when it mentions like the menstrual cycling, it's like, how? How the heck are they getting that? And then you realize like someone's using a menstrual cycle app.
There's an app for that. Yep.
Which, I mean, I guess that makes sense for some people, but I feel like, it's pretty consistent for the most part. Well, it's once a month.
It wasn't just, I don't think all girls have the consistency.
But usually it's like ballpark. You can kind of ballpark it.
But I think the purpose of the app is more for ovulation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then in which case you could be marketing pregnancy stuff. So.
Exactly, right. So it's not that Facebook is specifically seeking these things out, but as we discussed earlier, if you're using Facebook's ad API or their OAuth or their libraries or whatever, they'll take any kind of information you'll give them. Yeah. Literally everything. And the Wall Street Journal just follows up with more of this.
You give app sensitive personal information, then they tell Facebook. I don't know if the apps realize that they're giving Facebook all of this data. They may not, depending on how the libraries work.
Look at his face in this picture. He's like, oh, this is going to look bad.
There's so many pictures of him, responding to things. They've got one for every occasion. Although these
that should
days,
be a library on like
this is the only one they need for most of the headlines. But yeah, Facebook's response to this was, we don't even want that data. Although they consume it and they have like a field for it.
They specifically built their API to collect it.
I mean, how does your database have the menstruation field for storing that data unless you want it in the first place?
It's like, we've got a spot for it, but we didn't ask for it.
A spot?
I mean, how many different, that's got to be a free text, a varchar field, right? But how many characters do you give the menstruation field? I guess it's a date.
Well, there's other things you might be able to market based on other like parts of menstruation.
Yeah, and they literally use all of them, as we'll learn later. But, and maybe some good news, or maybe this is just, the board got together and they're like, listen guys, we got to do something to get in front of this bad news. What can we do to maybe get a few points back?
Facebook will shut down its spyware VPN app, Onavo. Now, I think we reported on when this came out, it was like, don't use it. Don't use it. So this was the VPN that was spying on teenagers or something. I don't know.
Well,
they
like
later children in this picture.
They offered it to everybody, and then both iOS and Google kicked it out because it violated the terms. And then they used it in that enterprise certificate scandal. You got to respect TechCrunch for just straight up calling it spyware, which
in
it
the
is.
Title, no less.
I mean, you can't really argue against it. This was the BuzzFeed News article I was talking about.
That was terribly written.
Oh my God. And it's Ryan Mack. How dare you sully this name? But
maybe he's getting paid by the word.
This meanders along to basically say something we already knew.
Mark Zuckerberg promised the Clear History tool almost a year ago. Where is it? Yeah, they haven't. That was one of the things that came out. It was like, hey, you can clear your history.
The whole story could just be in the title, really.
It's literally clickbait. Clickbait spoiler. It isn't anywhere. It doesn't exist. It's never come to pass.
Was this the one where he also went off on a tangent talking about the unsend, the message unsend feature?
We
don't have that either.
I'm gonna admit I didn't read the whole thing. Kind of bailed out on it.
Oh, getting a California state of mind.
Krista.
No, what?
He just sneezed.
Bless you.
Wow.
He's supposed to say bless. He blesses himself.
No, you don't do it for yourself. You do it for others.
No, I always say bless me
Oh.
because these two are too rude to say bless you. What if I had the plague and I would have nothing to keep me from making it worse?
I'm not sure that's how that works.
That is how that works. Science says so.
You don't need vaccinations. You just need
Say
people to
bless you.
say meaningless phrases when you sneeze. Well, Krista, you just alluded to a lot of data points, and they will happily use all of them. And this is an excellent example of that.
Facebook decided which users are interested in Nazis and let advertisers target them directly. So okay, so that's the clickbait headline. But if you scroll down, the AI, at least according to a Facebook spokesperson, the AI has created all sorts of interesting categories, and it's fascinating.
Krista, are you interested in Joseph Mengele?
No.
Because if you are, I have some ads that
No.
I'd like to show you.
Though honestly, this sounds terrible, but if you're a history buff, I could see your search history and stuff pulling this kind of stuff
Well,
in. And Facebook's
But
let me find this history.com article.
What product on earth monetizes this?
Well, okay, they answer that too. So, Screwdriver, I think, with a K, is like a Nazi black metal band.
Oh,
And I think
of course.
whatever this word is probably is too.
I'll
But
read that from here.
you have these black metal bands that are Nazi. That's kind of a common thing. The metal scene, there's some Nazi metal bands. And it kind of got all rolled up into that. So it's recommending that you purchase this music and stuff. Because you wonder, what Nazi products are we selling exactly? It's music. Nazi music.
Well, I'm imagining someone who's a history buff, and then they get really excited, and it's like, oh, this is just black metal. I don't even like this kind of music.
But if we ever get access to a time machine, I think one of the positive things we can do with it is go back in time and let Hitler listen to some of that black metal. He would hate it.
This is what my legacy is.
It would be terrible. Well, we were just talking about Instagram and Pinterest, and Krista posed the question, who uses Pinterest?
Because I'm kind of the target demographic, and I
Yeah.
had an account for a long time, but I don't use it anymore, and I haven't used it in years.
You're artsy and you're kind of crafty, and you got pictures of your dog.
Yeah, and you pin inspiration for other things. So I had a fashion board, and I had a cool design board, and but I don't use it anymore. I don't know anyone who uses it, but now it just clogs up Google search filters, and it makes me angry.
Well, maybe there is no reason to use it, because guess who's coming to take it over?
Pinstagram.
The Zuck.
It's not Instagram.
It's not Instagram.
Instagram code reveals public collections feature. So Instagram is trying to take over Pinterest for that demographic by having that functionality.
And they're going to make it so that you can do public Instagram stuff.
Does that mean Instagram's now going to be the thing clogging up our Google search results?
But you can directly view those images, right?
I hope so. Pinterest, you can't. So you'll click on it, it'll be log in now. So you can't even find the original image. And the issue with Pinterest as well is it's been shared so many times, you can't find the original link. So you if it was how to make a bouquet of flowers, you might want to find the full article on that, but because it's been posted so many times, all you can find is the image. And that drives me nuts.
Disgusting.
It is. It's annoying.
And you could argue that Pinterest, given this new revelation about Instagram, can they afford to get rid of any of their users? And they seem to think that they can.
Pinterest is cracking down on anti-vaxxers, pressuring Facebook to follow.
I don't know that Facebook ever will, because they're man, there's a lot of people who share those crazy either they're very, very pro-vaccination or very anti, and people fight on Facebook all the time about that.
That's interesting that you say that, because the stance they're taking is no discussion about vaccination at all, pro or con.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, I thought they were just that's interesting.
It's one way of not taking a side, I suppose.
No sads here.
I guess I can't really fault them for that, because we do that on our forum with politics.
I think the vaccination issue leads to SADS
Yeah.
in many cases. But I'm definitely not an anti-vaxxer. I believe in vaccines. I think we've seen enough evidence
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
vaccines working that we could.
My
but
kid has whooping cough. What could I have done differently?
it is kind of chilling to think that they just choose a group at random and silence them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little
It's a little
worrying.
weird.
First they came for the anti-vaxxers.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
it,
that's
yeah.
that whole thing. And speaking of chilling things, how far is too far when it comes to your school monitoring your social media?
Can artificial intelligence prevent the next Parkland shooting?
Talk about a loaded title.
Yeah, for real.
This AI analyzes, like, it wants to analyze all student communication, text messages, email, social media, other social media, the dark web social media, that one social media account they have just for their parents. It wants to analyze it all. This is what I was alluding to in the first episode of the
MySpace.com
news.
from 2010.
Yeah, I mean, well, some people, they maintain the dual persona thing, but it's like, maybe if we feed the AI thing, that we can find the next shooter. But I think there's a more scary thing here, and that is students will be used to this type of surveillance, which is probably bad.
Yeah, and it will cause a kind of secrecy. Although, one argument against that is how often people get arrested for stuff they post on social media. It's constant. They haven't seemed to figure out how stupid that is, because the need for the validation overcomes the survival instinct, which is maybe the end of civilization as we know it.
I was going to say that's almost impressive.
I'm going to go ahead and admit that I looked at this, but I couldn't readily figure out what it was about.
This is not really, it's kind of a non-story, but I thought it was interesting because I use CSS-Tricks a lot. They redesigned their site, and I think it looks really good, and everyone should look at it. The person who did the design, like, goes into their process in this article, and like how they made sure that every use case was accounted for, and like how they dealt with, doing code snippets or things from GitHub, or it was just really a good article.
I kind of like
if you're into that kind of thing.
I kind of like how these change colors.
Yeah, the hover effects are nice. There's some nice block quote styles in there.
So is this built into every image, this little gradient here?
Yeah, so it looks really good on this page, but they have like that really dark background on the top. Doesn't always look good on every image, but I mean, that's just how it works.
Kylie led this project.
Hashtag Kylie.
Tampani.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, she led the project. Good job, Kylie.
Yeah, I thought, and she did like a ton of, there's like, this is all just data she pulled from the website about like who was using it and when and why, and I was like, wow.
A design driven by data?
Yeah.
What sort of black magic is this?
So I just thought this was, if you're into the design and you're into like UX stuff, this is a cool article to read.
Nobody ever designs with data.
Yeah. Hey, I do. I try to. When I have access to it. I do.
Literally nobody.
Literally no one.
Well, you know who's probably going to be really, really good at design? The artificially genius enhanced twins from China.
And I read this as crispy. China's crispy babies.
Oh, they're crispy, all right.
Look,
These are the twins we reported on a couple of weeks ago, and it turns out, and like they were patching in disease immunity, and it turns out that that might have also inadvertently, quote unquote, enhanced their brain.
scroll up real quick though, because you have to see the enlightened baby meme that they used the stock photo here.
Someone obviously browses 4chan at the MIT Technology.
I like how the
Review.
baby's a little bit transparent, or maybe that's
Yeah.
just reflection. I don't know.
He's kind of like a ghost, He's transcended this mortal.
It's the ultimate form of genius is the CRISPR baby.
Crispy.
So they actually, it's not that they patched in; they patched out a certain receptor or something.
Yeah.
Was it
And
something for HIV?
That's how HIV gets into your cells.
Yeah.
But it turns out by doing that, maybe made them super smart. And if those kids turn out to be super smart and nothing bad else happens to them, there's going to be more CRISPR babies.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to find a way.
What if it was a
Who knows?
fluke and those babies were just going to be smart no matter what? How crazy would that be? And then people, they do the same thing and then they don't get the same results. They get upset.
They get their CRISPR babies and they're just morons. And they think they have the potential, they're just not using it. And they live a miserable life.
Oh.
They can never live up to
This kind of genetically, like the fallout from genetically modified children and what happens when they grow up. That was a pretty good subplot in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It was like 4 or 5 episodes about that, because it turns out the doctor was genetically modified and he turned out okay, but a lot of other people that were genetically modified did not turn out
It's like
okay.
the whole plot of Gattaca,
Yeah.
which every science class ever makes you watch. I think I saw that movie like 5 times in high
What
school.
if your genetically modified babies, they're immune to HIV, they're super smart, and they're super immune resistant, but 100% of the time, they're also furries? Do you do it?
I don't think so.
We've talked about emojis in court before, but it's an ongoing thing, and we continue to have no idea what to do about it.
Emoji are showing up in court cases exponentially, and courts aren't prepared.
And we weren't sure. Like there was some debate when we were looking at this article.
Yeah, well, let's
about
pose
what
the
this
question to the chat. Now, this is a mixture of, but so I don't think it was a money bag. I think it was high heel and purse. Do you interpret high heel and purse as I can make money with you as a prostitute?
No. See, I immediately thought, like, if I saw that, I would think, oh, you want to go shopping. I guess you need more context in the conversation, but, like, if I just saw those emojis by themselves, I would think.
Another message that he sent, a text message, was teamwork make the dream work.
I mean, that could just be for shopping.
Is prostitution really a team-based?
Yeah, I don't think so. It's kind of, I mean, it depends, but.
So they pointed out a variety of these things. Another one, let's scroll down and find it here. So this is Hebrew, I believe, and they claim that because of these emojis, this constitutes an agreement to rent an apartment alongside the words.
But
the people said it wasn't an agreement, but the judge actually ruled that is oral agreement because they were so excited with their emojis.
if they'd used a lot of exclamation points, would that have been the case as well?
No, I mean that's a good thing.
I think with the prostitution thing, isn't it universally accepted that's either the peach or the eggplant? That's what I've heard.
I don't know if that's how you pitch it to would-be prostitutes. Maybe to the customer. You got to know your audience with the emojis, Krista. I would expect you.
Does that mean that the eggplant and the peach are going to appear in the title of this week's episode?
We probably can't. That'll probably somehow get us demonetized.
I don't know if we're going to have comments by the end of the week anyway. So who knows? We've talked about the blood treatment. It's where you take blood from children and pump it into your old veins in the hopes that it keeps you alive. There's no proof that it works necessarily, but people keep doing it, and so the government has gotten involved.
Young Blood Company stops the unproven anti-aging treatments after an FDA warning. So we reported on this company. It was literally, it's like you just go and it's like, hey, I'd like some young blood, please. And they're like, sure. Some
young blood. I'd like some heroin, please.
Excuse me, what year is this blood?
Yeah, it's like we're gonna need teenage blood. It's
fine. 2001. This person wasn't even alive when 9/11 happened.
So the FDA sent them a warning, interestingly, and it's just hey, you shouldn't do that. And they're like, okay, cool. So that's it. That's the end of it.
Yeah, of course.
Kind of anticlimactic.
But you have all these, herbal remedies, and all they have to do is put that little disclaimer. It's like this
isn't proven to work.
Yeah,
I mean,
this hasn't been evaluated.
I would think though, like blood is, a biohazard. I would think there would be some more regulations around that, but maybe not. I don't.
Yeah, but there's good reasons to put blood in you.
Yeah, but again, like there has to be some sort of regulation, like right? I mean, because if you do that wrong, you can really mess someone up or spread a disease.
Perhaps the Vampire Council could weigh in on this.
Is Jeff Bezos the leader of the Vampire Council?
I bet he's gotten some teenage blood. No doubt about it.
That explains a lot, really, because old pictures of him are scary.
Sometimes a story comes around and the joke is so obvious that it stops being funny immediately.
And we're at that point with this one.
That is definitely where we are with this story.
Bowser is taking over Nintendo, for real.
Get it?
Like the Mario supervillain.
Bowser the monster. Now this guy did something pretty funny. He tweeted this picture. You can see Luigi tied up in the background. I thought that was maybe one of the more clever jokes that has come from this, because it wasn't quite on the nose like all the rest of them. People love the Reggie Fils-Aimé or something. What's his name?
I can see his face in my head, but I don't know.
But people really like him for some reason.
He's retiring. Well, he can still enjoy retirement.
Seems like a young guy.
Wendell says that with a little bit of wistfulness in his voice.
Now here's a story that's somewhat related to technology. Here in the Bluegrass State, we don't get too many headlines.
The sun shines bright on my old Kentucky home.
Maybe not quite so bright on a certain home that got some deliveries that raised questions.
The Kentucky Senate has passed a bill to outlaw child sex dolls. And the reason this happened is because of one guy. He was buying some child sex dolls from China. And I was laughing, and then it was like, there was an infant and a 6 and a 9-year-old. And then it was like,
oh, I didn't even see that part. That's dark. So they arrested him, but he argued successfully there's no law against this, bro. And they had to let him go and give him his dolls back. And so they said, let's rectify this immediately.
It's still got to go to the Senate, but good Lord.
Yeah, we've talked about this, the child sex doll thing before. And I'm the first person to say that we should be very, very careful about putting new laws on the books. But this one, I think, let's go ahead and let that one go.
Yeah.
Now, there are people, though, who will argue that that is sort of, what's the word?
An outlet for that.
When you do something violent, but it gives you a good feeling because you got it out of your system from RimWorld.
Catharsis?
Catharsis.
Oh, yeah.
And by doing that, you will not take that out on a child. But then there's the flip side of that says, by
Eventually,
doing that,
the doll's not enough.
yeah, you'll escalate. So,
Seems like it's ankle monitor country for him.
Yeah.
yeah, but if the kids are at home, I think it's more like, don't live within this much radius of children kind of thing.
Several miles.
We probably should just skip over this story. 'Cause
No.
I
No.
don't see anything to talk
Let's
about
not-
here.
Oh, Lord of the Rings writers locked in guard room at Amazon Studios. They are
She says
writing.
breathlessly.
They're writing the new series. I am kind of scared, but also excited. Excited about this new series. They've released a series of maps on their Twitter and social media. The maps are really interesting though, because it's definitely third age, middle, or well, maybe not third age, but it's definitely Middle Earth after the first age and after Bell Orion's been under the waves, and everything's come back up. And I think it might be early third age, because it doesn't have Rohan on the map. It has I can't pronounce this word, Kalanathron.
What?
So that means it'll be way before Lord of the Rings.
I don't believe that.
Way earlier. If the map's to be believed, or if they mislabeled it, who can say?
This is huge if true.
It's huge. It's the biggest news. There may have been a new release by the time this is released out, but they've been releasing it first it was 3 days, because it's, the 3 Elven rings, and then it was 7 days, and it was the 7 Dwarven rings, and now it's going to be 9. I'm very excited, and I'm not really coherent right now.
Now, one of the things that they mentioned in this article was apparently this thing has a really big budget.
Yeah.
Have you read what the budget is?
It's something insane. I think, isn't it supposed to be the highest TV budget ever?
I don't know.
I've heard that, but I don't know what the number is.
The guts of the article, which you've completely skipped over
Yes.
in your franticness.
Yeah.
Is,
there's so many things.
The fact that they are going to insane depths of security to the point where
They have guards on the door.
you do not get in without getting your fingerprint scanned, just in case you killed someone and took their skin, or
one
you're a
does.
shapeshifter of some description. And they have the storyboard in this one room where the windows have been blacked out and nothing goes in and out in terms of paper or flash drives or anything like that.
God, for all the work they're doing on this, I hope that it turns out well. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm also thinking about everything that's happened with Wendell and Star Trek, and I'm like, I don't want to be in that place. I don't want to be that place where I was when The Hobbit got released.
It's literally going to be like the Sherlock Holmes movie with Will Ferrell.
Well, I mean, you don't have to worry about them destroying any of your favorite characters. Oh, are the elves long lived enough to still be in?
Oh yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
Gandalf could still be around, right?
Gandalf came into the story around the beginning of Third Age, so if the map is accurate, he would possibly be in the story at this point.
But isn't he immortal essentially?
Yes, yeah. He has
they
an
could pop
old
him
man's
in.
form, but he's not actually an old
They
man.
could pop him in anywhere they want.
Technically, yes, but it wouldn't make sense for him to be in the first
But
age.
none of the hobbits will be in it.
Well,
No.
he definitely seemed like
Maybe an early setting of the Hobbits, but not really.
He definitely
Hobbits.
seemed like he had some age-related problems as he was portrayed by.
Well, that
Peter.
was just part of the
So
skin.
I'm imagining a
Yeah, because he took on the form of an old man, so he still had the limitations of the body.
Oh, okay. Because I'm imagining a hip young Gandalf, and it's wow, he's got his stuff together.
He's technically a spirit, so before this, he didn't have a body, so he was doing his thing.
What if they did just a young ripped Gandalf?
Who would play him?
The Rock.
No, I was gonna say I was gonna say Jason Momoa, but I like The Rock better. I think.
I really enjoyed the Merlin TV show with the young Merlin. That was really good.
I think I remember that.
It was a
We'll
British
see.
thing, I think.
When is that premiere, Krista?
I don't think it's got a premiere date yet.
Oh, okay.
They're just teasing it.
What if, by some crazy event, that premieres on honeymoon night?
I think I would wait. I would be fine to wait for that. That's
Could you stand it? What if you wake up the next morning and it just gets spoiled on the front page of the paper? Like you go outside your hotel room and you pick up the paper and
I've read all the books. I mean, I know what's gonna happen. Like, unless they go way off of lore, in which case I probably won't like it anyway.
they're gonna change it.
I mean, I don't mind minor changes or like gap filler stuff, but I hope they don't go like so far out that it's not even Lord of the Rings anymore.
I'm pretty sure that J.R.R. Tolkien pioneered the gap filler thing with the whole Tom Bombadil story.
No. See, when I'm thinking gap filler, I'm thinking like, technically, for example, Turin and Celebrimbor were in the same place for a long period of time in Nargothrond, but Tolkien never like explores that dynamic at all. But that would be a cool thing to explore. I don't think they have rights to first stage material, but that would be cool.
I would love to have a Danny DeVito as Tom Bombadil.
That would probably work, because Tom's described as being really short and jolly, wearing yellow boots, got a big hat.
But
I'd
like,
be
just
fine
like
with that.
him singing off key, like dancing around, that would work.
And then having the super hot wife,
like a super ripped Danny DeVito is just like stomping around.
he needs to have like the long hair.
Oh, it would be the Always Sunny, the character where he's wearing the white wig where it met his shoulders. There was just something
Ongo Gablogian, the art critic.
The Ongo Gablogian, the art critic, as Tom Bombadil. Yes, my life is. I can't. We need
with Goldberry.
We need the AI that lets you insert characters into movies. So
it's
like
deep fake, yeah.
You get the script and like you just feed it, because I really want to watch Conan the Barbarian now with Danny DeVito as Ongo Gablogian, but. The AI like rebuilds.
What if that's what they're doing in this locked room?
That would be amazing.
That could be what they're doing. That's why they have the fingerprint scanner, because they're like, we can't let anyone know we have Danny DeVito on board.
I am not a huge fan of tattoos, and I'm going to piss a lot of people off with this. I think they're attention seeking, and not crazy about them, especially on the ladies. But I do defend to the death your support to get them. However, sometimes you can go too far.
Lawmakers want you to stop tattooing your eyeballs. It's too risky.
As it turns out, wasn't there a post the other day on Reddit where a girl like almost lost her eye because it was severely infected?
It was infected, yeah. And she was saying like, "Hey, I kind of regret this. Maybe I shouldn't.
Have tattooed my eyeball."
Now, there was a lockup episode, the prison show on MSNBC, and two guys were just in a cell together. And one day they went in, and one guy's eyes were purple. And they were like, "What the fuck did you do?" And they were like, "Yeah, it gets pretty hardcore in here sometimes."
The secret Targaryen.
So
plot twist.
It's possible. You can do it. Should you? Probably not. Probably shouldn't go that far. Now, I got to think. Let's do a hierarchy, okay?
Okay.
Neck, face, eyes, job interview. Which one is the worst if you're the employer?
Probably eyes, because you wouldn't be able to like look them in the eye to tell if they're like lying or like if they're shifty. I don't know. They're just.
I mean, you can still see their pupils. I think
that would be really distracting.
I think probably eyes. Yeah. I mean, face is bad.
Neck, I wouldn't really notice that much.
Oh, you notice neck when people have neck.
Yeah.
I mean, you notice, but I don't think as much of it. I guess because we've had people who have. Well, we've had people here with tattoos, and I don't think a whole lot.
On their neck?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I know I've had people with like arm tattoos and leg tattoos.
Well, that's kind of pedestrian.
Yeah, that's kind of different.
Live, laugh, love on your neck.
How about the ones with the dotted line around their neck that says "cut here"?
Oh, edgy. Oh, that's what I call edge.
Well, this is a story. Well, this is a proposed law that's never going to make it, but such a good idea. Such a brilliant idea.
Body cameras proposed for elected officials doing Illinois business. So if you're an elected official in Illinois, you're just going to wear a body cam all the time. I think this is something we should do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Illinois does have a bit of a reputation for political corruption, specifically Chicago.
So you're saying that this law will not make it through because of the corruption?
Absolutely will not. And they also have a bit of a problem with the old pension system that may be related. Mr. Zuckerberg, as we talked about, he finds himself more and more in the crosshairs, and it's difficult for him not to say things that get him in even more trouble, because it seems like there's no bottom to this hole, and he just keeps digging further. This one was a good example of that.
This is like the CNBC tech writer. Like, you know, you're in trouble when the normie CNBC tech writer calls you out. So the headline that they wrote was Zuckerberg, comma, forgetting about Facebook's portal, colon, we definitely don't want a society where there's a camera in everyone's living room. In case you're not clued in, Facebook built a device called the portal. It's literally a camera for your living room.
They called him out at the press conference. Immediately, they were like, wait, you sell the portal? And he was like, oh,
That's
yeah.
different.
It's encrypted.
It's totally different.
We definitely don't want society where there's a camera in everyone's living room.
But please buy this.
That's all he wants. When he wakes up,
he needs more data points to act like a human. So
he
how
wakes
else
up
is he
in a
gonna do
cold sweat in the middle of the night because there aren't cameras in everyone's living room. It's like, there's data. I'm not getting it. I must drink all the data. It keeps me young.
How will I know how to act like one of them?
Now, Krista, I've been around your dog.
Yeah,
I think it might have autism.
she's the best though. She is vaccinated.
Then I think that could prove what these people are claiming.
Fearing their dogs will develop autism, some owners are declining vaccinations.
I don't think dogs can get autism, and that's what the doctor
Have you
said.
met Rue?
I mean, Rue
Rue's
is
slow.
she's definitely
slow.
yeah,
She
she's
can't
definitely like
focus.
super excitable and hard to focus. But I mean, she's still a good dog. She does tricks when she's focused, which is sometimes hard in
Rare.
new environments. Yeah.
When it's just you and her, and it's somebody she's really used to, but anytime a stranger comes around,
It's like, oh,
she falls
person.
apart.
Yeah.
Which
She's
seems
getting
to-
better about that though.
It matches the symptoms of a certain problem
A lot
some
less
people
pee
have.
from new people, from what I understand.
Yeah, she doesn't really pee in the house ever.
She's never going to hold down a job, let's face it.
Probably not. No, she'll be living with me for the
She's
rest
a
of her life.
dependent. Yeah, it's a problem. So you maybe think twice. Actually, no. Definitely get
Please
your dogs
vaccinate your dog.
vaccinated.
Yeah,
because for the love of
parvovirus, no
God,
joke.
Yeah, it's a
Rabies, no joke.
problem. This next story immediately puts us to mind of the Tumblr disaster. What was it called? I
It was
forget.
DashCon.
Oh, DashCon.
Came out
yeah.
several years ago.
Where basically they didn't have anything except for a ball pit.
It wasn't a ball pit. It was an inflatable tub with like 4
With yeah,
And
they had a ball pit and like I think an artist's alley, but there were like no artists. It's very
Yeah.
strange.
so kind of sad, but here's the question. Was that better or worse than the Fortnite festival?
Norwich's Fortnite Festival was a complete disaster. So you could get a refund for a little while, but now that has disappeared. But it looked terrible. It looked really terrible. There like one of the things was a cave experience where there was just a tarp over.
Well, let's itemize.
Well,
So
we
let's-
should really show the pictures because like
Here
some
was
of
the cave
pictures-
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's just like, what is that?
it's a wristband or 3 tokens.
basically a shipping container or a truck or something that's just been covered with a tarp and you walk through it. It probably wasn't even light tight. Like you could probably see inside and tell.
It's like the haunted bus in my hometown.
Kind of sad. But was that the saddest thing? Well, no. There was this, what is that, skee ball? No, that's one of those basketball things.
Is it basketball or is that like a slide?
No, you shoot basketball and
Oh.
that brings them back down into the net. This does not look like it was professionally catered
No.
necessarily. So here we have, what is this, like a DJ booth?
Imagine you were supposed
Look at that
to
rocking crowd in front of the DJ booth.
like be able to dance there or something, like the dance moves, because isn't Fortnite
They have
a lot about
they have
the-
like the dab and the dancing.
And then, of course, the archery range, 4 targets and 4 bows.
There's a huge crowd there.
Well, the crowd mostly was outside waiting to get in because the small number of activities meant that very few people could actually experience anything on the inside. So they didn't let you in till there was room.
Was this officially licensed?
This
no,
was
it was
not.
not.
But they did not stop him from using the Fortnite name and logo liberally.
Huh.
That seems. Whoever approved that, I bet. Like, I hope marketing wasn't involved, but I hope it was like some intern who was like, well, I guess that's fine. And marketing woke up like Monday morning and was like, you did what?
There was no approval. No, Epic has made a statement that we have nothing to do with this. We did not approve this.
Oh, okay.
The Fortnite Festival. Because I guess Fortnite is a word that pre-existed the game, meaning a 2-week period.
Do you think a level 1 thing would
But,
be
no,
just as
it's-
good as this?
NIGHT, isn't it? NIGHT? Fortnite?
No, it's Fortnite.
NIT.
That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
But the actual Fortnite time period.
Oh yeah, you're
Yes.
right. The spelling
So
probably is different.
that is totally copyright.
Trademark. But yeah.
Whatever, you can't use it.
Nerd.
And the idea, like, I don't understand. Even so, take all that out of it. How is this supposed to be an analog of Fortnite? Like,
An archer? Yeah. Do they even have bows in that game?
I don't think so.
but you're not shooting bows at other people.
Well, maybe you're not.
What a
Well,
disaster.
That's all we got for this one. This was a short one today.
This was really short, surprisingly so.
That's
Actually,
still like 30 minutes and change.
That's all we're contractually obligated to give you.
I mean, I could talk some more about Lord of the Rings and the Silmarillion if people, you know.
You know, as you were talking about Lord of the Rings, it occurred to me that's how I sound to other people when I'm talking
And you were
about
like,
technology.
"Oh no!"
But your cadence went up to like such a degree,
Yeah,
and you just got like super fast about it.
yeah. That's
What-
the same reason I have to write lots of like notes when I'm doing a video by myself.
Let's
because-
okay. So just as a final, as we sign off, give us 3 characters that you hope are in the show and cast them.
Oh, I don't know about casting, and it's
No,
gonna
you got to
take me.
cast them.
It's gonna take me too long.
No, just
to
right off
think.
the top of your head.
I don't think they have any first stage characters though.
Well, just go crazy.
Okay, I love Maethros and Maglor.
Oh, it's a terrible choice.
Oh, you don't know. Those are two of the oldest sons of Fëanor. I love both of them. I don't know who I'd cast for them, though. It's so difficult because you have to find someone who looks young, but also can have, like, the gravitas of someone who lives thousands of years.
I'm just gonna throw one out. Logan Paul.
I don't think so. I don't think he has
No?
the kind of seriousness required for the role of people who killed their kin.
I don't know. I mean,
What about Gerard Depardieu? No.
how about what's his name? Jussie Smollett. I think he's gonna be available.
You're throwing out all these names and
You don't know Jussie Smollett?
not off the top of my head.
I mean, that's been in the news.
I don't.
Maybe look at a news site.
No. No.
We'll end on that one.
No.
See you next week.